Oh my god! I was actually going to just throw this engine in the car, like that was the idea here. But then
That would have been a bad time.
everything is bad. The ring lands on the pistons are cracked. So we are back at the KE70 project. I'm tackling this head on once again. In the last episode we dropped the front K series subframe and suspension. I was hoping all this would be from an 8.6, but sadly it wasn't. My idea with this car is to have basically an A86 in a KE70 chassis. Seems how everything is more or less backwards compatible. As we have an abundance of these bits in Ireland, from cars being stripped over the years, it shouldn't be too hard to achieve this. I stripped the KE70 hubs to take bits I needed to build up my new suspension and lower arms. I bought hubs, and thankfully because I fitted the Willwoods to my 8.6, I had calipers and brand new front discs for the KE70 build. I took the dodgy exhaust off the KE. It was a simple system, but I won't have any use for it. I want to use my old 5 Ziegen exhaust that came on my 8.6, so this goes in the bin. I also wanted to make as much wheel clearance as I could in the arches, as this thing will be going sideways and running big wheels. So I cut out the arch liner tabs and hit the seams where the wheel meets the door structure with a hammer, proper Japanese style. But I'll be sealing this just to make sure it doesn't rust. But I want to give as much clearance as I can in the wheel well. I then sealed the back of where I hit it and sprayed it with epoxy primer because it exposed bare metal. The plan here then is to stone chip the entire arch and just slow down the inevitable rust. It's crazy how clean the arches are for such an old car. I guess that's the joy of dry climates. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to make a cardboard fucking plate. You go on here. So cut it out of the wing. Just trying to remember what Barry and people do. So the other side of this K70 had a sketchy repair done on the chassis leg that you seen in the last video, and the outside of the chassis leg was actually rusting too, but it was hidden by some sealer. I'm not confident enough to hack out this thick metal, so I cleaned it up with a wire wheel and flap disc, and I got some epoxy spray, and then I used some weld-through primer on areas I'd be welding, and decided to just plate over it with fresh metal to keep it strong. I then sprayed this entire arch with stone chip. Then it was onto the subframe. I never got engine mounts with the K series subframe that came in the car, so I have no idea how a 4AG was mounted to it. I'm pretty sure it just had modified engine mounts. Subframes are common enough here in Ireland, so I bought this subframe for pretty cheap because it was a power steering subframe, and a lot of people here prefer manual rack subframes, so I actually got a kit from Flows. It's a polybush kit. It allowed me to reuse the rack that was in the K series subframe. I'm going to be honest here, I'm very lucky to have a place like Flows to get a lot of off-the-shelf bits with next day delivery. I wanted to have as much adjustment as possible on this, so I got all Group 4 lower arms and tension rods for the front of this, so I can adjust everything to get the best setup. I paired this then with a TRD anti-roll bar and my old tension rod brackets from the 8.6, and that should give me a nice crisp front end. I also got rack spacers from Flows too, which I fitted when I was installing this, and Ruben showed up and then our friend Taylor showed up to give me a little bit of help installing this. So because this car came from a warm country, it never had heaters, and I wanted to put some in because Ireland has a lot of crappy weather which fogs up the windows. So I wasn't confident enough to hack up the firewall, and yeah, I asked my friend Taylor, who's pretty handy with that stuff, if he could drill the holes. Should be alright, shouldn't it? Just flick. Punch.
Yeah, we get it somewhere, right, anyway.
No. We live in Ireland, so someone argued that I should probably do it. Okay. These things are violent.
One eternity later.
I copied them from an A86 Firewall, which was on the Levin shell, which Brian has across from me, and yeah, we mocked up these holes and drilled them. And this,
It's more like if you put it that way around, it's like a huge boot.
yeah, it looks like a metal shoe. Now where do we go with that?
To the man.
There it is.
Just off to the man.
Need another box now.
Here you go, man.
Thanks. Very cranky. I was actually going to just throw this engine in the car, like that was the idea here. But then
That would have been a bad time.
everything is bad. Look at these.
That's not even the worst one.
It's not even the worst one. The worst one was the first one, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's.
It's actually just that one. Only that cylinder is. Oh no. I'd say they're alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get
This one is actually quite loose.
Yeah.
Hey, some positive news.
But
We have to get the crank polished.
oh man, that's not bad.
Okay.
A quick polish
Yeah.
will.
In ferns.
In ferns, up the ferns there. See that goes round and
And that does
those bits of metal
thing.
come out. Yeah.
right. Well, I'll get it.
Yeah, it seems like it dragged metal through, like the rod bearings and all.
Yeah.
But they're
It was
clean.
just about to say goodbye, like.
Nah, she'd be mint. Bit of 600 sandpaper now and a bit.
Yeah.
I would.
I know you would, and I know you have.
Yeah, but like I trust that crank by doing that. There's no big scores in the cylinders or anything. Can't see much of a crosshatch anymore. But oh, let's find which exhaust valve is open. Oh, that one, look.
Watch, little fart. Such a funny looking yoke. Oh my god, that's great.
So the next day I brought the block over to Brian to clean out all the misery. It was back to stripping the back end then to see what we were dealing with. The back axle was T-series, thankfully. I used the old trusty bearing puller which has been around the shed forever, which is very over-engineered for this job.
Actually, so they'd be like A85 because they're single row bearing. It's supposed to be a dual row bearing for an 8.6. Okay.
So what's funny is I jumped the gun and I bought a TRD, as we call it, pig's head here in Ireland, like Diff, thinking that there was a welded axle in this, and to my surprise when I opened it up, the exact same early spec TRD LSD fell out of this axle, so the joke was on me.
This is it. It's fucking like spun up. It's sealed on the gate. Hey. Wished.
It's not welded.
That looks like a sporty Diff as well.
I guess I'll be selling the other LSD and getting this one refreshed. I also pulled the tank out to see what we were dealing with, and it was a carb example for the original 4K that was in this with an electronic fuel pump which somebody had installed inside it. So what's interesting too is I cleaned then the backing plates which have been re-drilled in Thailand because this was a drum axle which has different offset holes for backing plates for discs, so someone had converted this with these 8.6 backing plates to make it a disc axle.
I've just gotten really stuck into the KE70. Last week we painted the engine bay, and then I filmed bolting on all this front end, all this stuff. Over the last week I've been trying to track stuff down, so I was under the impression that the back axle in this had a welded LSD, so I tracked down this one here, only to find out when I pulled this apart earlier that it had the exact same 4.3 LSD in it. But this is a non A86 back axle, but it's a T back axle without the anti-roll bar brackets on it. So I've picked up this really nicely powder coated one off Adrian Walsh, but it's a GT back axle, so this would have been drum from factory, and the drum back axles come with a single row bearing, which you can see here, where like the normal 8.6 back axle comes with a dual row bearing. So this T-series would have been in things like a SR5 Corolla or like an A85. So I've got the 8.6 back axle with the anti-roll bars, bearings, and I'm going to try and build up something decent. So this was hilarious. It's like a piece of like a bed that was in here holding the shock towers together as some sort of like false brace. It's just like this hollow, hilarious little thing. So took that out. It's kind of a homemade anti-roll bar. So I want to put a TRD anti-roll bar in this. I basically want this KE to be as 8.6 as I can. So I'll take everything off this T-Series axle, the brakes and that, put them onto that because it's nice and fresh. And bolt in the brackets for TRD anti-roll bar. Going to get some nice suspension for it as well. It's the original carb tank. And someone had just put a Walbro fuel pump in there, which I can actually reuse in the 8.6 fuel tank because it's got the cradle. So it's going to be cool, yeah. They're extremely similar. The floors are very similar. Someone has made this kind of a jimmy thing here to get the fuel neck to sit right. So we'll probably just put this onto this. We took the engine apart. So the €600 engine that I got that I thought was a bargain. It was a bargain, but it also wasn't a bargain. Well, it was, I guess, considering how much all the parts are and stuff. But I got Brian to come out yesterday. Brian's pretty busy with he's got a kid, so he's not here as much as he used to be. But he came out, managed to get some time to come out with me, and we stripped this. And we learned that the ringlands on the pistons are cracked on 3 of them. From detonation, from most likely shitty Irish fuel. I was just going to try and be really lazy and just put this engine in the car and just start driving because I wanted this to be a pretty fast project. But it started to turn into a bit more than a fast project, which is funny. So I need to find 3 pistons. Thankfully they didn't start doing some proper damage. You seen when we were out here a couple of nights ago as well, the engine overheated and one of the bearings was just about to spin, which is sad. But look, these engines were driven into the ground here in Ireland, but you can see, look at all the material coming off that bearing there. And that was actually on the crank. So I got it sent to a machine shop and then they polished it out, but they actually managed to polish it more or less back to its original size, which is 42mm. So I'm going to try and just get 42mm bearings for it and try find some pistons. Brian might have some over in his mega stash over there where the lads are. And hopefully we can get a nice engine out of this. I'm really trying not to rabbit hole. This thing has fully rabbit hole because I was under the impression that I was just going to slap an engine and gearbox in this and get on the road, but since I've painted the whole front end of it, got all 8.6 everything, and I'm working my way back, so I've essentially replaced the entire car. Yeah, we're swimming in fun here. So I don't know. I'm keen to get that axle in. I've got a Weir 4.7 with a solid pinion spacer that I want to put into that so I can drive the shit out of it. I've got the old cage out of my 8.6 over here which I want to put in it as well. My goal is to get this done in the next couple of months. I'm sorry that I didn't film as much as I would have liked to have today. I just was really adamant to, seems how I had the front kind of done, work my way to the back and just pull the back axle, pull the fuel tank and figure out what the fuck is going on with this thing. Don't really know what I'm at here. Like, I'm trying to do nearly everything myself on this car. My friends are eager to help, but I'm really trying to just do literally as much as I can. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do everything, but I'm trying my hardest. I'm even trying to do bits with engine stuff, which is kind of scary, but yeah, the 20 valve is now in a million pieces in all these different tubs, which is a bit depressing. We're back to, we could potentially be lapping valves on a beach before we know it fairly soon, which is fucking hilarious. How come this keeps happening?
We love mystery.
I don't like...
No, it's just a technical detail, so if you can't be that way inclined and then skip over.
Yeah, because like you don't want to just kind of glance over a thing. Like, I think we're fucking doomed.
It's not even upgrades, it's just putting it back to...
Yeah, properly. I don't want to end up with this again, straight up. Like, this wasn't supposed to be that. So...
There's a lot of body work on that.
Yeah, so this we're going to leave the patina for the most part and just get the running gear to be as good, mechanically awesome. And I didn't want it to be this awesome. I was under the influence that, or under the impression, but I am definitely under the influence of the Corolla virus anyway. So it's.
But we can't do stuff by. You have to do it 100%.
Yeah, we have to do it right, like. And it's a shed full of fucking people that are just going to get onto me if it's not correct. So got all the Group 4 stuff and flow stuff with mixtures of tier. Everything's nice. A lot of rambling, but I guess yeah. My goal now over the next couple of weeks is to get the axle built, put it in, get the fuel tank in, put it in, and then it can actually probably go back down on the ground for a little while, or, you know, I don't want it, like, my fear is it to stay on axle stands for fucking years. It's only been on axle stands for 3 weeks so far, so stay tuned for more, guys. We'll see where this goes. Woo! Toyota! Just before this video ends, I just wanted to dedicate this episode to a friend that I'd lost over the last week. It's probably the first time on this channel where someone that we'd made a video with had passed away, and I just wanted to dedicate this video to a friend of mine called Danny O'Connor. And Danny was a huge fan of Juicebox. We actually made friends through his 8.6, which showed up in the Japan Without a Plan video. It was like driving along the highway, and me and Ruben saw it. It was like the first 8.6 that I'd seen on that road trip back in 2016. Danny had bought that car, imported it into Ireland, and the car had just shown up in a video, and he's seen it drive past in one of our videos, and he couldn't believe it. Danny actually called down then. We made a video about that car a few years ago, and we actually struck up a friendship ever since then. Both of us were guys in our like late 20s, early 30s, and we'd only gotten around to getting our dream car, which was the 8.6, much later in life. We actually kept in touch and spoke a lot. After I'd made that original video with Danny, he actually had to get a heart transplant. He had heart failure, which was crazy, and he just gave me so much inspiration because he remained so positive even when things weren't looking good for him. It really dwarfed anything that was going on in my life that I felt like was keeping me down. And then over the last few years, Danny then battled with cancer. He actually beat it, and then unfortunately it came back again. Danny would call down to me. Now that I'm full time, Danny would call down on like a Wednesday when he was feeling up for it. He'd drive his 8.6 down and we just hang out and talk. I would literally just talk to him about my woes, which is hilarious in comparison to the stuff that he was going through. And yeah, we used to just laugh about the nonsense of life. What's mad is Danny put a lot of things into perspective for me. You know, comparison is the thief of joy, and sometimes you think, oh, I'm not doing what I want to be doing or where I'm going and stuff, and then you look at someone that just wishes that they were just in good health. Danny had such a passion for Corollas, and he was always talking about the next thing he wanted to do with his car. Passions like our interest in Corollas and Japanese cars and stuff can be like fundamental in just keeping us going and keeping the lights on even in times when things are incredibly tough. For Danny, when his health was declining, he was still just absolutely obsessed with 8.6s, and we chatted all the time about our plans with the stuff that we had and what we wanted to do. Danny definitely reminded me of how to be super grateful for everything I have. I will miss the chats about Corollas with Danny and the shed visits, and I'm just so grateful that we crossed paths, and I'm grateful for the lessons that he taught me in life. He would have got a kick out of me putting this in the video. So thanks guys for watching. It truly means a lot to me, and it's incredible the journey I've been on and who I've met and who I've crossed paths with. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks so much. Take care. Mind yourselves, and goodbye. Drive home on them tires, you mad bastard. That was great. I love how excited you got. You just fucking lost a run of yourself. Flip will just ring the gate for you, so you just drive up to the gate. No matter. Danny, it was a fucking pleasure. Thanks for melting the tires off your car. See you later. Goodbye.